Hey Katie, I watched the link that you put on YouTube. It's kind of hard for me to hear. I tried to do the closed captions and I tried to turn up my volume, and I can't really hear, but I try my best and I can hear some things. And what we're going to talk about today is what you did really well on, what you did proficient, and then like what you could work on for your next lesson. Overall, I think you did great. Your lesson was really smooth. I liked in the beginning how you stated your expectations for your students. So you stated, okay, guys, we're going to go to the carpet, and while you're on the carpet, I expect you to be sitting there on your pockets. Like you told them their expectations and what you expect from them, and as students I feel like they respect you, and since you verbally told them what you expect them to do, then the behavior wasn't a problem in your video. And as Wright talks about in his book, it's like kind of like how I take it is a schedule or a routine that you have with your students, and then they already know when you say your expectations, and they know that this is what you mean and that this is what you're gonna do. And also, during your video, when you showed the Fort Bend County Fair pictures, I had put this in your rubric when I had typed, maybe if before your lesson you could have done a KWL chart to see how many of your students have been to the fair, how many of them have been to the activities, how many of them know what it is, do they know that this is how they celebrate this, because I don't know anything about it. And so if I was a student, I'd be sitting there and I would be learning this and not really like connecting to what you're trying to teach them. But for the students that do know and the students that do understand what it is and have been there before, it was a great connection, and that they seem to really get it and connect what you're trying to connect with the celebrations and celebrating their cultures. And another thing that you did really well on is you let the students kind of take over the discussion, which can be really good and then really like off topic. So what I could hear from the video that your students were saying is they were staying on topic, and they were doing really good turn and talks and thinking, and then sharing with their classmates. And so another thing is like, I don't know if you do this in your classroom often, if this is what works for you, but sometimes the teacher kind of needs to lead the conversation and kind of be able to lead it, and then have the students take over, and not have the students lead it and the teacher just kind of sit there, because then it's like, what is the teacher teaching, and then what are they learning? And so it worked this time, but maybe later on in your other lessons, if maybe you want to lead the discussion, and then they can turn and talk, or they can do a think, pair, share, and then it will get the conversation rolling after you have already got the conversation rolling and continue to talk about it. Also, what I think you did really well on is you did really well on your visuals. I think that was really good. The kids really got on to they really made those connections, and they understood. And I'm trying to find your lesson plan real quick, sorry. You also, in your lesson plan, this is why I wanted to pull it up, but in your lesson plan you talked about right here it is. In your lesson plan you talked about how you were going to use like the music, the different clothes, and here, let me read it exactly. Okay, so you said like one of your main focuses would be how the communities use music, food, dance styles, clothing, and other traditions in their culture. So what I also put in is maybe you could actually bring in, because I know the Pebble Go, you use the Pebble Go, but I didn't know if what exactly the Pebble Go tells them? Do they show them pictures? Do they show them a video? So even if you wanted to do something different than the Fort Bend County Fair, you could have done like a celebration where they're dancing and where they're having a good time and they're celebrating, and then you can pause the video and say, look at their clothes, look at what they're wearing, look at the music that they're listening to. So I think you could have like taken it one step further and brought in like different clothes, or you didn't even have to bring them in. You could show them their pictures and show them this is what they wear, this is how they dress when when they are celebrating this type of event. And excuse me. I like on your independent practice how you use your sentence stems. Our community celebrates blank to focus on the blank culture. I think sentence stems are amazing, and I think they really help the students with their written language, and then also saying it out loud as well. Because if they hear you saying, our community celebrates blank to focus on the blank culture, then they already know, okay, I need to say our community celebrates blank to focus on the blank culture. And then to write it down, they've already said it out loud. They already see the sentence stem, so they just need to write it down. I think the sentence stem is really good. And I also like how you related it back to the students, to where you are gonna, for the closure, that you did the complete my holiday traditions worksheet, which you related it back to what your students do. So it's like we learned about all these cultures, and we learned about what they do, and we learned about how they celebrate it. Now I want you to tell me how you celebrate a culture in your house. So it's not only are you assessing the students' knowledge of how somebody celebrates a culture, you're also having them share out how they do that, how they celebrate it at their home. So you're creating more of a classroom community. And then I don't know, maybe later on you could have some students share out, and then your class would get to hear more cultures that you didn't get to talk about, and you get to learn more about your students. So overall, I think your lesson went really good. I liked how you used a lot of the visuals. I like how you kept your ELLs in mind, and you kept the stuff up during the lesson for them so they could have something to always look back on. And I think you did great, and I just had a little tips that I gave you, and so if you want to use them, go ahead and use them. If you don't, it's okay. Your lesson still went good, and yeah, have a great day.